Hey guys, this is Dave. Welcome back to Just the Watch, and today I got another unboxing plus review for you today. So I'm going to be unboxing a new watch from Pagani Design.
Wow, check out that Cyclops.
I'll size it up, test it out, and give you guys my final thoughts. Alright, so I've had a couple of days with the Pagani Design 40mm Hulk homage, and I gotta say, I haven't been this impressed with a watch in a long time. So this is a watch that Pagani Design sent to me for free. I do get to keep it after the review is done. That's why you saw the paid promotions flag at the beginning of this video. However, other than the watch itself, I did not receive any compensation from Pagani Design, and they didn't have any input into the content of this review. This is my first experience with a watch from Pagani Design, but I've been following a lot of reviews, and I feel like this is the one that everybody's kind of been waiting for. This is a 40mm dive watch that bears a more than passing resemblance to a much more expensive watch from Rolex. Has a ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, I think a solid bracelet, all that kind of stuff. Let's open it up and check it out.
And isn't this supposed to come on a bracelet? Alright, so in the box, you're getting your warranty card, which I don't know how good that is, manual, cleaning cloth, which is nice, it's a pretty thick cleaning cloth, and a screwdriver to adjust the bracelet, which you'll see this one doesn't have, and I think there's a good reason for that. So this is actually the second watch that Pagani Design has sent me out. This one is running the Seiko NH35 movement, which is one of the main selling points of that. However, the first one that they sent me out, which did have a bracelet on it, the movement's broken in this one. It's running really awkwardly, and so they were kind enough to send out another one. I believe the intent here is they want me to just swap the bracelet from this one over to here, so they didn't have to send out a second bracelet. Anyways, that's what I'm going to do. Now, it's really odd that the problem that I had with the first one is the movement, because that is one of the strongest selling points, and usually Seiko NH35s are really great, reliable, robust movements, but I guess even that can be a problem sometimes. But let's take a look at this guy and maybe peel these stickers off first. So sapphire crystal is what it says here, which is great. This looks like a flat sapphire crystal, but again, that Cyclops is just really working. Okay, now this sticker is way too sticky. Well, I guess that's what this cleaning cloth is for. Okay, so here's the Pagani Design, and it looks pretty good. This got a sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel. Dimensions look great. Seiko NH35 inside it. And again, I'm really impressed with that Cyclops. That is really magnifying, very large. Let's feel the bezel action. Bezel action feels very nice. Got a nice sound to it. It's very easy to turn. I usually expect a little bit more resistance than this, but it's not so light that I don't think I would. I guess you could knock it, but it's fairly light, but it's very little backplay. I mean, overall it's really good, I think. Just a little bit on the light side. Maybe just a hair out of alignment though. Alright, let's get the dimensions and specifications out of the way and see what this guy is. Yeah, so it's kind of hard with the crown guards, but it looks like you're getting right on 40mm width. Looks like about 47mm lug to lug, so pretty compact. 20mm lug openings. What's that, about 12mm tall? So overall great classic dimensions. I'm going to go ahead and swap this over to that bracelet and size it up. They give you this little screwdriver, so I'm assuming that these are screw links, so that'll be cool too. We'll test that out, and then I'll continue examining this after I've got the actual bracelet that I think is supposed to come with this. I don't think they even sell this with a NATO strap. I think this was sent over like this just for me because it's a replacement for the first one. Forgot one. All right, so there it is sized up for my 7.5-inch wrist. I wound up having to remove 3 links from it, and as I was going through that process, I got a chance to check this out a little bit more. I am really impressed at what they're offering you at this $80 or $90 price point. The bracelet is really solid links all the way around. It does have male end links, so you get a little bit of a extra protrusion there. But the clasp is really cool too. It's a flip-up clasp. Again, obviously getting some inspiration from Rolex here. And this is actually a little bit of a spring trigger on here. I was surprised to see that too. So it actually lifts up really easy. Almost a little bit too easy. It feels like this part's a little bit on the loose side, like it could pop open if this top thing flips up. So after this, it's fairly easy to lift it up, but maybe too easy. And then inside, you're getting a milled clasp here. And this is really cool. They have that kind of easy link system. They have that little extra adjust where you can pop this out, kind of like a little extension, and get a small amount to let out a little bit of a clasp for you. So that's great. It allows you to easily add or remove a little bit of space if you need to, if your wrist swells or something. And I put it on upside down. So that's really cool. I don't know if I've ever gotten to play with a watch that has that before, and this is a really affordable watch to have a feature like that. One thing that I will say that was difficult is that it does have 3 micro adjusts, but there are no holes on the outside of the clasp. They're anchored to the inner part of the clasp, so it's actually very difficult to use the micro adjust. I had to actually remove the strap from one side and kind of get in there with a spring bar tool and really work at it. So that's something I wouldn't expect to adjust the micro adjust very frequently. I would hope to set it and forget it, and then use that little extra add or removal of length with that little clippy thing. Try not to use copyrighted terms here, just in case. But I think if you guys know what that's supposed to be, you know what it's called. But it's not super smooth, but it works. And again, it's really cool to have that kind of an adjustment on a watch like this. Finishing is also pretty good. You're getting mostly brushed surfaces over the top of it, and then on the sides you're getting polished. And that goes for the side of the case and the side of the bracelet. So not bad at all on the finishing. Signed crown. The dial is a very bright green. It's very green. So definitely going for kind of the Hulk look here with the matching green ceramic bezel. Sunburst dial. It's a very bright color, not like a dark, deep kind of green, more of a bright green. And the look is pure Submariner. So they definitely are taking their inspiration from that. All right, final thing before I go out and start testing it. Let's get a quick shot of the lume and see how that looks. Okay, so this is coming in with a blue glow. Doesn't appear to be applied very evenly. Some of the markers look brighter than others. You're getting just a lume pip at the top that seems to be fading pretty quick. So I don't expect the lume to be particularly excellent on this. It is a nice color. When I fully charge it with the UV light, it gets to a readable amount, but it's not particularly bright. It is brighter than a lot of watches I've seen that cost twice as much as this, though. So it's hard to be really disappointed when you'd only be spending like 80 or 90 bucks on this. All right, let's go ahead and test this out, and I'll tell you guys what I think about it.
All right, so one kind of unexpected benefit of this watch is what a great fidget toy it makes. The bezel action on it is just really great, really smooth bezel action, and it's it's a little bit on the easy side to turn, but extremely satisfying. Very surprisingly so for a watch in this price range. Also, the clasp is very intricately engineered. There's a lot of little latches and hooks and things on it. It's just so easy to kind of take off your wrist and start playing around with. You can flip up the clasp, open it up. It's got a little dive extension or little micro adjust thing that is also very cool to play around with. So yeah, I've probably interrupted a lot of Zoom meetings where I've just sort of unconsciously taken the watch off and started fidgeting with it. Probably not much of a, actual benefit to the watch, but just something cool I noticed when I was playing around with it.
So the lume is actually surprisingly bright. I mean, it's not real bright, and it's definitely not completely evenly applied, but much better than I was expecting.
Alright, so I've had a couple of days with the Pagani Design 40mm Hulk Homage, and I gotta say, I haven't been this impressed with a watch in a long time. Not because it's the best watch that I've reviewed in a while, but it's gotta be the best watch for the money that I've reviewed, I think, yeah, maybe since this channel started. It seems like there's an arms race going on for who can create the best, cheapest Submariner homage, and this is, I guess, Pagani's shot at it, and I think they've done a pretty phenomenal job. Now, this is not a perfect watch by any means. There were a number of areas where I think they definitely had to cut corners to get it down to the price, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I do want to make sure that it's very clear that any criticism that I have is not really valid at this price range. Okay, they've already well exceeded my expectations, and if it didn't have these issues, I think I would be even more shocked. So I don't expect it to really even be possible to make this much better and keep it at this sub $100 price range, which I think Pagani's really going for. I mean, let's just run through it again. You're getting a ceramic bezel, you're getting a sapphire crystal with a really good working cyclops, which is kind of unheard of. You're getting a Seiko NH35 movement. You're getting a solid link bracelet with solid end links with a solid milled clasp and screw links on the bracelet. You're getting a clasp that has a little micro extension that allows you to tool-free micro adjust and get an extra 5mm during the day in order to extend it so that it's more comfortable on your wrist if your wrist swells or shrinks. I mean, you would be hard-pressed to find that feature set on a $400 watch, much less an $85 watch, or sometimes when it drops down on sale, sometimes as cheap as $75 or $65 when it goes on the big AliExpress sales. So this is a crazy good value. So if you're interested in a Submariner homage and you want to pick one up for under $100, I think this is probably the best one I've seen. But, so here's the things to keep in mind. Start with the most obvious ones. This does have only 100 meters of water resistance. So it's not a full dive spec watch. I would not use this for actual professional diving. If that's more, if you're after this for more than the style, you might want to look at something more rugged. But 100 meters is still going to be perfect for swimming or pretty much any daily wear activities. The lume on this watch is also not great. It was slightly better than I expected it to be. It was usable, but it was not applied very heavily on all of the markers or very evenly. But it does glow bright enough to give you some after dark performance, and it has outperformed some of the other more expensive dive watches that I've reviewed. And while the bezel is actually one of the best bezels I've felt on a dive watch, it's just incredibly satisfying to use, really great action, almost no backplay. The only complaint I have about the bezel is it's a little bit on the light side, but even then I don't think it's too light. I think it's, just on the verge of being too light. I don't think it'll knock itself out of place very easily. So the bezel action is great, but other than that, when you talk about the crown action and the clasp mechanism, both of those are a little bit rough, a little bit gritty, a little bit frustrating at times to use. The clasp in particular, while it has a lot of really cool engineered features into it, it doesn't function that smoothly. And on top of that, there are a lot of sharp edges on this watch. So especially when operating the clasp and that dive extension where you've got to apply some pressure to get things to snap into place, it's not very comfortable because oftentimes I felt my fingers pressing into some fairly sharp edges on the watch, both on the clasp and on the underside of the case and on the tips of the lugs. Now, in spite of all that, on the wrist, the watch was incredibly comfortable. I didn't feel any of those sharp edges there. It wears great. It's just a really great size and weight. And because of the clasp and the micro adjust that you can get on it, I was able to get a pretty good fit on the bracelet as well. So I think that about sums up what you need to know about this watch. Again, I'm thoroughly impressed with what they're offering you at this price range, but keep in mind that there are some trade-offs necessary in order to get it down to that level. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.